Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Walkthrough Radio Show with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. And if you're watching us on YouTube at the Walkthrough Radio Show, we appreciate that as well. Walk, what's going on today, man? How you feeling?
All is well, man. All is well. Weather's a little gloomy, but it's a weekend. We're off. I'm looking forward to another great one, Jay. And looking forward to they stretching this NBA this season out or this playoffs out, but we'll talk about that for sure, man. But yeah, all is well though.
Yeah, man. We got some good stuff today. Obviously, we're going to talk about the playoffs. We're going to talk about Steph Curry and his impact. I got some good take your picks for you, man. NFL running backs. And I know you got some good stuff lined up in the second half hour too, some AFC North talk, some 49ers talk. So this is going to be a good one, man. But we got to start in the NBA.
Yes, sir.
Friday night, man, I tried to get you to jump ship. I tried to convince you that Boston was the way to go. You held firm, K-Walk. You said Golden State was going to get it done. And you were 100% right, man. But looking back at game 4, what did you see and what was the key to Golden State's victory?
Just Steph just playing out of his mind, man. I mean, I think that's just the obvious answer for sure. But outside of that, I think you had guys like Andrew Wiggins stepping up for the Warriors. You also had Jordan Poole stepping up. Clay did his thing. I mean, I think I always expect 25 from Clay every night. I don't know why I do, Jay, but I just expect 25 from him every night. You have Draymond Green. I mean, Draymond Green, I don't know what's going on with him, man. He just seems like he's focused on the wrong things right now. I mean, he had 3 points, I think. He had 9 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, Steph out-rebounded him in the game. So it's like he's focusing on the wrong things. He's focusing more on the antics than anything else. But Steph had a great performance. He definitely needed that performance in order to get those guys that victory because, Jason Tatum, even though he had 23, 24, 25 points, he felt like, he let the Celtics down. He didn't play his best game. And that just goes to show you what type of confidence that he has in himself and his team as well. So I just saw just a hungry Steph Curry, man, and he was in that zone, as the players like to call it. He was in the zone and he stayed in the zone, and again he led that team to a big time victory, much needed as well.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, man. Steph was out of his mind, and without that performance, I don't know that they get it done. So he was fantastic. But you're right; they also got some help from Wiggins, even Jordan Poole, who wasn't great. He did make some plays in some key moments. And Clay was okay, but like you said, he still hasn't had that breakout game that everyone's kind of expecting. And then I don't even know what to make of Draymond. I think maybe he's in his own head at this point.
Yeah.
But Steph was phenomenal, man. Steph was phenomenal. I thought, too, that this was the first time that I thought the Warriors experience really played a big role in this series. When it was close in the fourth quarter, I was thinking, I don't know, like Golden State, they've been there, they've done it. They know how to win these close games. I've seen Boston get tight so many times in some of these close games. Yeah. So as somebody that was kind of rooting for Boston, I felt nervous when it was close. I was like, I don't know that they're going to get it done. And the Warriors experience, I think it really helped them down the stretch. So now it's tied up, man. It's 2-2. It's been a good series. I thought game 4 was the best game of the series so far.
Yes,
and now we got game 5 tomorrow night back in Golden State, obviously. Great opportunity for the Warriors to really take a stranglehold of this series if they can get it done. How do you see game 5 playing out? We know Boston has always bounced back. Whenever they lose, they come back and win the next one. How do you see game 5 playing out?
It's a coin flip at this point, Jay. I mean, I think we're going to see this type of series. It's the best of 3 now. So the next 3 games, I'm expecting to go 7. I am expecting it to go 7. So with that being said, I think that each team will ultimately hold court serve from going from this point forward. So I'm expecting the Golden State Warriors to go up 3-2. And then, obviously I'm giving my prediction already. So I'm expecting Boston to win back in Boston, and we come back, or they go back to Golden State to close it out. But yeah, I'm just focusing on game 5. I just think that Steph, he doesn't have to, I don't think he has to be that Steph. I mean, it wouldn't hurt if he was,
Right.
that he was in game 4. But I just think we got to see more of a consistent thing from Klay Thompson. And also we have to, Draymond, man, he has to come up big, man, and just give him, 10 points, just give him close to a triple double, not necessarily a triple double, but just give him like 10 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, whatever he does. And to stop worrying about trying to get those fouls, called on, on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and all those guys. I just think if he can just come back to what they're trying to do and be a part of the stat sheet, if you will, the box score, then I think, Golden State will be able to win game 5, not handily, but convincingly.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Boston missed an opportunity in game 4. And now going back home, it feels like Golden State has the momentum. And even if Steph doesn't have one of those type of performances, conventional wisdom always says that your role players will play better at home.
Right.
So maybe he's going to get some help from some other guys. So as much as I hate to say it, I think you're right. I think Golden State wins game 5, which puts Boston in a really tough position to have to try to win 2 in a row. So game 4 was a huge letdown if you're a Boston fan. And now it kind of feels like Golden State is in the driver's seat in this series. But the one good thing about Boston, man, if you're a Boston fan, they've been great on the road in these playoffs. They've won a bunch of games on the road. So if they can go in and pull it off in game 5, I would personally be shocked, but we'll see. All right, man, we've been talking about Steph, and obviously that performance was historic. And I hate to be a prisoner of the moment, but that's what we have to do sometimes, man. And people are talking about Steph all time. Like, where does he fall in these rankings when you start talking about all-time greats? He's got 3 championships. He could be well on his way to number 4. Widely considered by pretty much everyone the greatest shooter of all time. He's got the stats. He's got the numbers. He's had the historic performances in big moments now. Where do you have Steph, man, in terms of your all-time rankings? Is he a top 10 player for you in your all-time list? And if not, where do you have him?
Yeah, I don't have him in my top 10 list yet, Jay. Not just yet. I mean, he's on the move to get there. Don't get me wrong. If he could continue to perform like he's been performing this season, he had a great season, and obviously after in game 4, if he can continually to play like that, man, I mean, he'll be in my top 10. I have him right outside of my top 10, Jay. I don't have him ranked exactly, like 11, 12, 13, like that. But I do have him close. I don't have him in my top 10. We can put him in the argument. I mean, not argument. I just think he's by far the greatest shooter of all time. But before he came along, we had the likes of Ray Allen, we had the likes of Reggie Miller, but we don't have them in our top 10 just yet. I know I don't. So we don't have those guys in there. So even though he's the greatest shooter, of all time, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, I just don't have him in my top 10 all-time player list right now, Jay. So he's just right on the outside. He's looking in, he's knocking on the window, Jay. He's knocking on the door, but he's just not coming in just yet.
Yeah, no, it's hard, man, because I started writing down some names because sometimes I feel like I've overlooked Steph and I don't even know why. Like, is it his size? Is it the way that he plays? Is it that he's not great on the defensive end? I don't know, but sometimes I feel like maybe I've slighted this guy a little bit. So I just started writing names down, really in no particular order, but obviously he's not over MJ, Kareem, LeBron, Magic, Kobe. That's 5 right there. Then I got Duncan, Larry Bird, Hakeem the Dream, and Shaq. That's 9 right there. Like, without even really thinking about it too hard, that's 9 names right there. And then you can start, there's KG, there's KD, there's Scottie Pippen, Allen Iverson. Brittany Jones would put Allen Iverson in front of Steph Curry. So I think you're right, man. For me, I probably have him on the outside looking in of that top 10, but 12, 13.
That's why I probably have him on.
Where I would feel pretty comfortable having Steph. Would you put him above KD, K-Walk? Like, I know they played together. I think everyone views Kevin Durant as the better player. How do you see that one?
Yeah, I'm not going to put him above KD to answer the question. I'm not. I just think that Steph, he still has a lot to work on. I think a lot of things that he does, he's still, even though he gives you those great performances, but if you look at his stat sheet, he gives a lot of balls away. It's a lot of turnovers in that box score. So until he's able to protect the ball a little bit better, that I'm gonna give this slight edge to KD. Just, I mean, and that's, if you pick KD, if you pick Steph over KD, I wouldn't be mad at you, or vice versa. So yeah, I would definitely take KD over Steph. I still think that KD is the best player in the game right now. I know Boston, made him look otherwise, but I do like KD though over Steph.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you, man. I still think I would take KD over Steph, even though this playoffs did nothing to help that argument, because Boston absolutely shut down Kevin Durant, and they have not been able to do the same thing to Steph Curry. He's gotten his against that great defense, but I just think when you look at it overall, I would agree that KD is the better player, but Steph is coming, man. Like, if he wins this championship, especially if he puts together a few more great performances, it's going to be hard to keep this guy out of the top 10 if he keeps performing the way that he is. All right, good stuff there, K. Well, let's do this, man. Since we're going to switch up and do some NFL talk, let's grab a quick break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do Take Your Pick NFL running backs, and I got some really good ones here, so it's going to be interesting to see what K-Walk comes up with. We'll do that right after the break. You're listening to The Walkthrough with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to The Walkthrough with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. All right, K-Walk, let's jump to the NFL, man. And last week did we do quarterbacks last week, or maybe receivers? I can't remember, but
receivers. I think it was receivers.
This week we got some NFL.
No, we did quarterbacks.
Backs.
You're right. You're quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks. It was one or the other. Yeah, I can't remember, but we got some good ones this week, man. Some NFL running backs. And I'm gonna come out swinging, man, right from the top here. I got two of the best to ever do it, man. Emmitt Smith, Florida Gator, and Barry Sanders, man, the great Barry Sanders. Take your pick, K-Walk. Who you got, Barry or Emmitt?
I'm going to go with Barry, man. I got to go with Barry. Barry did a lot more with a lot less. I mean, you're talking about that defensive, that offensive line or lack thereof for the Detroit Lions. I mean, it was just nowhere to be found. You've seen all the great runs that he had. I mean, he's probably lost more yards than some players have gained in the NFL because of that offensive line or lack thereof. Emmitt arguably had one of the greatest offensive lines in the history of the game. Nate Newton, all those guys, man, just to name one. I think pure back Barry Sanders is one of the best to ever do it. Again, he didn't have any blocking. He had very little blocking, and he made some guys miss. Behind the line of scrimmage, once he got past the line of scrimmage, just some great moves. So this was easy for me, Jay. So I'm gonna go with Barry Sanders on this.
Yeah, this is easy for me too, K-Walk. I agree with you 100%. I would take Barry 100 out of 100 times over Emmitt. I cannot imagine what Barry Sanders would have been like if he ran behind that Cowboys offensive line. Like it would have been absolutely ridiculous. And then I think if you put Emmitt in Detroit, I don't think we see that same kind of success. I really don't. So I would take Barry, man. The elusiveness, just the ability to make professional athletes look ridiculous at times. Gotta go Barry all day long. And I just love the way he played the game, his approach to the game. Nothing extra with Barry, man. He was going to make you look bad and then just hand the ball to the ref and trot right off the field. So I'm going Barry Sanders all day there. All right, let's go back to Mr. O.J. Simpson, man. And then a good comparison for him is Eric Dickerson, man. O.J. and E.D., who you got? Take your pick, K-Walk.
Yeah, I'm going to go, despite everything off the field and everything, we know about him, I'm going to go with Ortho Team Simpson. I'm going to go with OJ here, man. just what he did in USC. I mean, the Heisman there. I mean, what he did with Buffalo. I mean, he was just a smooth cat. I know ED was a smooth cat. I know he was your guy.
Yes.
We know you when you were growing up. That straight up style that he ran with. The Jerry curl, the goggles, all that. I mean, he was smooth. He was smooth as ice. I'm not gonna lie. But it's something about OJ. He was just a pure back, man. And just when he hit that hole, he got through there quickly, and he was faster than a lot of people gave him credit for. So I'm definitely going to go with Orenthal James on this.
Yeah, man, I agree again. As much as I love ED and I love that upright running style and his ability to just make it look easy, never really looked like he was running that fast, but was always running away from people. I think you got to go with the juice here, man. You absolutely have to go with the juice when you think about what he did and how unstoppable he was. So yeah, I'm going to go OJ here as well. All right, man. I thought these were going to be tough, but maybe not. Let's jump down to John Riggins, who, man, I used to love watching Big John Riggins. I can still hear John Madden talking about Riggins and just the way he would run people over and stuff like that. So let's go Big John Riggins against another big fella, man, Jerome Bettis. Take your pick, K-Walk.
Wow, this is the toughest one out of all of them, Jay, for me anyway. Yeah, John Riggins was just that guy. And I wasn't a big fan of John Riggins. I wasn't a big fan of the Redskins when they were the Redskins at that time. It's just something about them that just really bothered me, man. But taking all that out of the factor, I'm going to take John Riggins. John Riggins wasn't your prototypical running back, but he did run the ball very well. I mean, it was hard to bring down. I mean, the bus was the bus. They called him the bus for the reason because he could really run you over and he can get through those. He can get to that line of scrimmage and get through those holes. But I'm gonna take Riggins on this one. I like Riggins because I think Riggins was more of a football player than Jerome Bettis was the bus. Nothing to take away from the bus again, but I just love the way John Riggins ran that ball with such toughness. He was such a football player, Jay, playing running back.
Yeah, I kind of was a Redskins fan back in those days. I remember my dad used to like the Redskins, so I would sort of root for them at times when I wasn't rooting for the Eagles. But there was something about Jerome Bettis. I was never really a Jerome Bettis fan. Obviously, he's a very, very good player. Nothing to take away from him. I think I would just prefer Riggins. I don't know. Thinking about it, though, I feel like maybe Bettis was better. This is tough, man.
This is a tough one.
I think I'm going to take the bus, man. I think similar in size, but I would probably give the edge in speed, quickness, agility. I would probably give all those things to Jerome Bettis. So I came into this thing thinking I would pick Riggins, but I think I'm gonna go Bettis here. Here. All right, K-Walk.
Hey Jay, you got one more. You got the Giants left in the AFC East to root for because you rooted for the Eagles, the Cowboys.
I know.
You rooted for the Redskins, so now you got one more, man. I don't know when that's going to be if it will be, but
if Saquon will ever get healthy, maybe I could root for the Giants. We'll see. All right, let's go Tony Dorsett, K-Walk, a classic Dallas Cowboy, man, through and through. And then Marcus Allen. Tony Dorsett, Marcus Allen. Take your pick, K-Walk.
Another tough one here, Jay. Oh, wow. Love both of these guys. Marcus Allen at USC, Tony Dorsett at Pitt. Cowboy. Oh my God, Jay. This is a coin flip. I'm going to give it to Marcus Allen just for this reason, because he was just a little bit better receiver out of the backfield. I love his athleticism. I think he was a little bit more athletic than Tony Dorsett. Both great running backs. I don't think I could pick one running back over the other as far as them being running backs. But as far as being athletic, I'll make that deciding factor. And I think Marcus Allen was a little bit better of an athlete than Tony Dorsett. We remember him leaping over the pile to get in the end zone. He was known for that, meaning Marcus Allen, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield as well. So I'm gonna give the slight edge to Marcus Allen.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you 100% here, K-Walk. I'm going to take Marcus Allen as well. Tony Dorsett, for me, was never really somebody who wowed me, right? He was a good running back for sure. definitely a really, really good player, but he was never somebody that would just make me say, oh, wow, like I want to run the ball like him. So I'm gonna go with Marcus Allen as well. And like you said, I think he was a little bit more versatile, especially coming out of the backfield and catching the ball and things like that. So I'm gonna go Marcus Allen here as well. All right, okay, well, let me do a bonus one here with you, man. Let me throw in some of the winners and see who you would pick here. So let's put Barry in this final group. So Barry Sanders. Let's put Mr. O.J. Simpson in this final group. And then let's throw Marcus Allen in the final group as well. So out of those three, K-Walk, Barry Sanders, O.J. Simpson, Marcus Allen, take your pick.
Very sneaky, very tricky here, James. I like that. I like the way you think, man. I like the way you think. So with the wow, man. I mean, I gave that accolades to both. I mean, all three of these guys. So I'm still stick with the juice, man. I mean, I know Barry, what Barry did, man. Barry, and I, as much as I praised him in the beginning, I still believe in that. But I just think pure running back and everything that he was able to do. I just really wish we could see Barry Sanders run behind a real offensive line, but nonetheless, I'm gonna go the juice on this one, man. This is a tough one, Jay. Very sneaky, but I'm gonna go with the juice. I'm sticking with the juice, man.
All right, you're right. This is tough, man, but I gotta go with Barry on this one. Man.
I can't argue.
I gotta go Barry, just because for me, Barry is really the only guy that I have consistently seen get it done without really having a good offensive line. Yeah. There were times where he had absolutely no blocking at all, and he could make literally something out of nothing. And I haven't seen anyone else do that. Yes, you see it here and there, but Barry could do it consistently over and over. Just make grown men, make professional athletes look like they didn't belong on the field with him. So I'm going to take Barry here, man, but it's close. It's really close.
I can't argue.
There's nothing wrong with taking OJ for sure.
No, right.
Good stuff there, K-Walk. Good stuff. All right, man, I got about 5 minutes here in my segment. I want to do this, man. Let's get a little personal, man. Let's talk about our personal football careers here a little bit. We've been doing this a little bit the last couple weeks. And this week, man, I want to know if there was something you could change about your personal football career, whether it be switch positions, maybe go to a different college. Maybe there was a decision that you had a chance to go here or there and you chose a play, like whatever it may be. Maybe, I don't know, maybe go back to high school, little league, anywhere you want to go with this, K-Walk. But if there's anything you could change about your personal football career, would you change anything? And if so, what would it be?
Yeah, Jay, there's one big one, but I don't know if I can change it because if I change that, it may change where I'm at in life. You know what I mean? I thought about that. I may be somewhere else doing something else. I don't know. But the first thing when you presented this to me last night, Jay, I said the first thing that came in my mind was me switching from committing from West Virginia to committing to Temple. Because there are days, Jay, there are a lot of days that I've said that to my wife. I said that to myself. But, I don't regret it, Jay. I don't know if it was, I don't recall a regret. Maybe this is something that I would have changed. Maybe it would have got me to a higher plateau, if you know what I mean. Perhaps I would have been, playing on Sundays as opposed to, playing in Canada. But I don't know, man. I just think that might have been a better choice for me. But I'm gonna leave that one alone, Jay. But that's one I'm gonna keep with me, man, because it's hard for me to say that because I might not be where I'm at today because if I made that decision. But as far as a play goes, Jay, I remember we were playing Eastern Michigan my first senior year because I had the red shirt. I'm rubbing my shoulder here, man, because I went up for a pass and something told me not to go up for the pass, but I went up for the pass, Jay, and I had the ball. I knew I was going to get it. But this dude hit me square, Jay. I came trying to brace myself. My shoulder went up in my collarbone, snapped my collarbone, man. So, man. So I was out for that. That was the first series. That was third down, the first series of the first game of that season, Jay. I was out for the whole season because of the broken collarbone. Man. So if I had, as a regret, I would just say that I wouldn't have went up, or I would have tried to fall a little bit differently in that case. But that's my play regret. But my ultimate regret is that. But I'm here, Jay, for a reason.
No, I get it, man. I completely understand it. Mine is similar, man. Not that I wouldn't have went to Penn State, but I wouldn't have changed positions. Like if I could do it all over again, I would have stayed at the running back position, man. Like when I got to Penn State, obviously there were some great running backs there.
Yeah.
Kajana Carter was just a year ahead of me. And then there was Mike Archie, Stephen Pitts. Like they were all in the same class and just a year ahead of me. And so I was like, I don't want to wait. And that's how they did it at Penn State at that time. Like you weren't beating anybody out. Like if it was close, whoever was older was going to play. Like it's funny, man. I remember like one time I went into Coach Paterno's office and I was like, look, Coach, you know, I'm better than this guy and I'm better than that guy. Like, well, how come, you know, and he's like, listen, he was like, that's not how we do it here. He was like, you got to earn your stripes. And he was like, and then one day, when you're an upperclassman, if there's a young guy that's a little better than you, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt as well, right? I was like, man, you know. So anyway, I switched from running back to defensive back because I felt like I could play sooner, right? I could get on the field a lot sooner, which I did.
Right.
But I was always a more natural offensive player. So for me, that's the one thing I would change. I just would have stuck to offense. I would have played it out, see how it worked out. Maybe I beat somebody out. Maybe I get some reps. Playing defense was cool, but I always felt like my strength was on the offensive side of the ball. So that's probably the biggest thing I would change if I could go back and do it all again.
Yeah, Jay, and you know what? It's funny you said that because I was very surprised when we played each other for the first time, where we played each other with two, three times, and I was surprised that you moved to, because I know you came in as a running back. I know you went in as a running back, I should say, and then you switched over to defense along with your brother A, and I was surprised to see you there, man. I was like, maybe there's something, maybe he just felt like he wasn't going to get this spot or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but you did mention some great ones though. But I think you would have been all right if you just stayed over here. You'd have been a little bit more patient though. But yes, I was definitely surprised at that
for
move.
Sure. Yeah, that's my biggest. I don't even want to call it a regret because it worked out okay on defense.
Exactly.
But I think it could have been better offensively as well. But yeah, good stuff there, K-Walk. All right, man. Let's grab a break. When we come back, I know you got some good stuff that you want to get into. We're listening to the walkthrough with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Again, you're tuned into the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Great first half, Jay. Awesome stuff. Recap the Game 5. Gave a little bit of prediction on, Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Gave our predictions on Game 5. Play stuff. Well, who would you take? Awesome stuff. And then we gave our personal, football, choices, and we could have went back what we would have done differently. So that was a great one, Jay. I like, that you bring that up, man. Definitely interesting stuff there. Makes me think, makes me want to go back, reminisce a little bit. But listen, we're gonna stay on the NFL talk. I know we ended up a little bit with the NFL. I want to stay on the NFL talk, and I want to talk about the. First, I want to talk about Deebo Samuel. Jay, I know I seem to be talking about this guy all the time. He's my guy, obviously. He's coming to camp. All right, he's went into mandatory OTAs, but a contract still hasn't been signed or offered or as of yet. Jay, if you're a 49er fan like myself, would you be concerned, or do you think that this will play out? They will ultimately get that deal done before the start of camp.
Yeah, I think they're going to get it done, K-Walk. I think it'll probably be done in the next week or so. I think it was a good step for Deebo just coming to camp, even though I don't think he's participating. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's been there, but I don't know that he's really doing anything. But it's nice that he's at least showing up. That's sort of a good faith offer. And I do think it'll get done in the next week or two. They're talking though, like $24 million a year. Like that's the range that I think I heard that maybe they're going to be looking at. That's a lot of money, man. But Deebo is very valuable. And I guess that's just kind of the going rate nowadays and what guys are getting paid. So I don't know, man, you're way more plugged into the 49ers than I am. Like is 24 million. Do you feel like that's a fair number for a guy like Deebo?
I do, Jay, if he's willing to play that role that he played last year, in the backfield. I know he's come out and said, he wants to be used differently. He wants to be strictly a receiver. So, I said, time and time again after this, first transpired, is that, I think he may be a $20 million receiver. I mean, a $20 million, a $23 million player. But I just think he's a $20 million receiver. I mean, if he wants that money, that 23 to 24 range, then he has to continue to do what they ask him to do. That's what the going rate is as a player of such. I know he's labeled as a receiver. We get all that, but he's not used as strictly a receiver. So that's my only gripe there. I've been saying that since all of this transpired, since all of this came out, saying that he wanted to, he's strictly a receiver. He wants X amount of money, but he wants X amount of money as a receiver and nothing else. But, Jay, you got to give him what he's worth. I mean, is Jimmy Garoppolo worth $26 million to the 49ers? Yes. Yes, he is, because that's who pays him. If you go down the league and you're saying the league is paying them, then you'll be like, no, Jimmy's not worth that, or Debo's not worth that. But it is worth they are worth that to the 49ers, and that's what they ultimately have to pay him, because it's a guy that you don't want to get rid of. I mean, you just don't want to trade him. He's very valuable. He's shown that. He's got to stay on the field a little longer, but it's hard to do that if they constantly use him as a running back and receiver and put him in screens and things like that, and put his body in so many positions where it could be one hit away for him to be done for the season or a few games, just to mention. But I think, like you said, Jay, I think they'll get it done ultimately, and then I think that they'll be happy. They'll be happy campers, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens from that point forward. With that being said, Jay, Debo signs, okay? Best case scenario for 49 fans. Debo signs, he gets the contract. He's happy. He's doing what he needs to do to help the 49ers win. Trey Lance is the guy. They've already stated that, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be traded at some point. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so with that being said, Trey Lance, how much confidence do you have in this young guy? I know it was a small sample size. He had 2 starts last year. He was 1-1. He had 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, small sample size. But what say you about Trey Lance, and from the small sample size that you've seen, how much confidence do you have in this young kid?
Yeah, if I was going to put it on a scale from 1 to 10, I would probably be somewhere in that 6 range, just because we haven't seen him a whole lot. But the thing I do think could work in his favor, right? So we know talent-wise, he's got the arm strength. He can make all the throws. He's athletic enough. I think he checks all those boxes. And then I think something else he has working for him is that I think play calling is like a huge thing in terms of quarterback development. And some of these coordinators and play callers, they just go out there, they call what they want to call. It's not necessarily what their quarterback is best at or most comfortable at. And I think Shanahan is going to do a great job at putting together a game plan of things that Trey Lance does very well. And calling a game to highlight all the things that he does very well. So I think right now I'm at a 6. I could see that going up to a 7 or 8 once we get in season and he starts to get into the flow of some games. Look, there's still going to be some growing pains, right? Just because he doesn't have that on-field experience. So I'm sure some interceptions will still come up. I'm sure some of the inaccurate throws will still come up early in the season. But I think as the course of the season goes on, we're going to see this kid get better and better and better. And a lot of that's going to have to do with the position that Shanahan puts him in with some of the play calling and the schemes and things like that.
Yeah, and you meant that's a great point, Jay. I mean, that's my biggest point. There's where Kyle Shanahan puts him at. If he calls the plays like he called for Jimmy Garoppolo, for the most part of the season, for the most part, I think he'll be in a great position because it takes so much pressure off of Jimmy Garoppolo, and it could do the same thing for Trey Lance. I mean, I don't want to see him running 30 times a game. I don't want to see him read optioning every third play or every play, whatever the case may be. I just think if he just calls the plays that he's called for Jimmy Garoppolo, we can see a Trey Lance that can be up there. And some of the talk, like, is he a top 10 guy? I'm not saying he's going to jump to elite status, don't get me wrong, but I think if Kyle Shanahan puts him in the right situation, he could be arguably, in the top 10 conversation. I'm saying the top 10 conversation, Now, I'm not going any crazy. I know I'm a fan, but like I said, I might be crazy, but I ain't dumb. So, but yeah, but I think that, if he allows Kyle Shanahan, if he allows Trey just to calm down, make the simple reads, and then take it from there, because he can make some throws that Jimmy Garoppolo is not able to make, because you mentioned his arm strength, and also make those, extend those plays, with his athleticism, as you also mentioned. So yeah, I'm looking to see, as long as Kyle Shanahan calls the same type of offense, I'm 100%. I'm at a 10. I'm at a 10 for this kid, man. I really am. But if Kyle Shanahan puts in a position where he's just trying to play with a new toy but doesn't really know how to play with it, then it could be a long season for the 49ers, for Trey Lance and the 49ers, and Kyle Shanahan as well. So with that being said, Jay, talk about Debo signing, talk about Trey Lance and his ability. You gave him a 6, possibly a 7. Can he lead the 49ers to the playoffs? I know there's a big shakeup in the AFC seems like they're more top heavy than the NFC right now, because all of the reactions that took place, the transactions that took place, acquisitions, excuse me. How do you see the 49ers finishing the season? I mean, this regular season, do you see them as a playoff team, 1 seed, 2 seed? Where do you see them at?
I don't think there's any question they're going to make the playoffs, K-Walk. I don't think there's any question at all. They have a really good roster. And when you look at last year, they just came up a play or two short, really, from being in the Super Bowl. So I don't think there's any question that this team is going to make the playoffs. And I don't even know that we're going to see a huge drop off at the quarterback position. Like, Garoppolo played fine, and he was really good at moments. And there were some moments where it's like, okay, Jimmy, that's not so great. I don't know that we're going to see a huge drop off with Trey Lance. I think he'll be a little inconsistent, but I think over the course of the season, I think he'll be fine. So yeah, I got this team in the playoffs. Will they be a 1 seed? I don't know, but I would probably say the worst they would be is probably a 2. I think they're going to be really good, man. So along with the Dallas Cowboys, I think these are going to be the 2 teams in the NFC that you really got to keep your eye on.
All right. You kind of answered my next question a little bit, because I was actually trying to transition into the Rams. The Rams right now, a lot of talk, they say that they're bringing it back. Let's run it back. That's their theme of their season this year. A lot of people are on board with that, fans and some not so fans. But what is your confidence level in the Rams running it back and repeating as the Super Bowl champs?
I don't think they're going to repeat. I don't care.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you were on YouTube and you saw Jay's face, it's priceless.
And it's no hate against the Rams, honestly. I just think it's hard to repeat. Like, it's not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult to repeat. It's not like they blew everyone's doors off last year and were just so impressive that everyone's penciling them in again to be back in the Super Bowl. I don't see it happening, man. I think they kind of caught lightning in a bottle last year. Everything fell into place. They had some big plays and some big moments at the right times. Look, they're going to be good. Obviously, this is going to be a team that gets into the playoffs without any trouble, but repeating is hard, especially in the NFL. So I don't see them repeating again. I don't even think they get back to the Super Bowl again.
Okay. I hope, from your ears, from your mouth to God's ears, because, the 49er fan, I don't want them getting back there either. But so let me ask you this question real quick, Jay. Do they win the NFC West? I know we talked about the 49ers and you say they're a playoff team and you think there's not going to be a big drop off from the quarterback position. What say you about the Rams winning that division?
Yeah, that's a good question, K-Walk. Didn't the Niners beat them twice last year, if I remember right?
Yeah.
So
they beat like 5 times in a row, but twice last year. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be one of those situations where the 49ers just have their number. You know how that is sometimes, where some teams can just beat you and it doesn't really matter what you do. They just have your number. And maybe the 49ers have the Rams number. I'm going to give the division to the 49ers, man. If you're putting me on the spot today, I'm going to give the division to the 49ers. I think we're going to see a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover with the Rams. So they'll get in, but I don't think they're going to take the league by storm or anything like that.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that the 49ers have the Rams number, and you mentioned the 49ers were 1 play away, 2 players away from getting into the Super Bowl. Chwaski Tart, man, if you're listening, man, dang you, brother, dang you. Just hold on to that ball, brother. And we talking about another Super Bowl appearance. I'm not saying a win, I'm just saying appearance. But all right, great stuff there, Jay. What we're going to do here is we're going to grab our next break. When we come back, I want to stay on the NFL talk, and I want to talk about the AFC North. I think that's one of those divisions where we've seen a lot of change. Deshaun Watson is, with the Browns. Joe Burrow's coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. And, of course, Lamar Jackson is there as well. We'll definitely want to dive into that. We'll get your thoughts and opinions on that as far as that division goes. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Again, you are tuning in to the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Before the break, ladies and gentlemen, we were talking, 49ers. We were giving our thoughts and opinions on Debo, Trey Lance. Want to stay on the NFL talk here, Jay. And again, as I mentioned before the break, I want to talk about the AFC North. How do you see this AFC North playing out? Who do you have in winning right now as presently constructed? Everyone's in camp right now, Jay. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are coming off. They smelled it. They know how they smell the success, and they know what it takes to get back there. Then you got the Browns bringing in Deshaun Watson. You got Lamar last year of his contract, so he's motivated as well. So what do you say about this division and how it's going to play out?
Yeah, this has potential to be one of the best divisions in football. One of the most exciting divisions too. Like when we start getting close to playoff time, I really think this could be one of those divisions that's up in the air, even as we get into week 16, week 17. I think there's going to be too much chaos around the Cleveland Browns. So I just think everything going on with Deshaun Watson, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Is he going to be suspended? The whole Baker Mayfield situation. I just don't know that they're going to be able to reel all that in. So I'm going to kind of exclude the Browns from having a chance. Pittsburgh is always pretty good. I mean, Mike Tomlin always has a winning season. So you feel like you can pencil them in to have a winning season. But I really think it's a two-team race between the Ravens and the Bengals. Cincinnati's good. Like, I don't think that was a fluke last year. That was not a fluky season, in my opinion. I think they've got all the pieces, a really good young quarterback, good wide receivers. I think they're going to be back and have a really good chance to get back to the Super Bowl again. And the Ravens, if you think about their season last year, they were a couple, in my opinion, bad decisions away. A couple going for it on fourth down a couple times when they really didn't have to, and they lost some games that they should have won. So that to me, it's going to be a two-team race, but I'm going to give the slight edge to the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah, Jay. I mean, you made some excellent points there. I mean, John Harbaugh, he's known to go for it on fourth down. We know that he's notorious for doing that. But yeah, the Steelers, you don't know what you're going to get with them. You got a couple of young quarterbacks, coming in there, and you want to see you got Mitch Trubisky, and then you got the young kid out of Pittsburgh. Why can't I think of his name? Well, the young kid out of Pittsburgh. As well, they have high hopes for him as well. And like you stated, when we got Mike Tomlin, you always got a chance. If you look at his resume, he's never had a losing season. I think the worst season he had was 8-8. And, it's not a losing season, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not. But I just think their quarterback situation is not going to be the answer for them. So I am going to go with you, Jay. I'm going to give it to the Bengals in a slight one. I think they've been there. They smelt that taste. They smelt that success. They want to get back there. They made some key acquisitions there to understand what they were missing and for them, because they were 3 points away from winning the Super Bowl. So I mean, they had them in the first half, meaning the Rams. But then, the Rams just have that, I don't know, they just had that something, man, last year that they were able to get it done. And we talk about the Ravens, and we talk about Lamar. And I think Lamar, even though he lost Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals, I think, they brought in some young talent there, receiver. I think Lamar's going to have an excellent season. I think he's going to have I'm not going to say he's going to have an MVP type season, Jay, but I think he's going to be in that conversation throughout the season for sure. And he'll definitely finish in the top 4, top 5 in MVP race. I think he's going to have, barring injury, of course, I think he's going to have that type of season. I mean, it's a contract year for him, so he's got a lot to prove. And I think he's always been seen as that guy that, everyone always counts him out. He's just a running back playing quarterback. That's what they label him as. A lot of people want to label him as that. And he's quiet the naysayers for sure. So I think with all that being said, the Ravens are going to be right up there with the Bengals. I'll give the edge to the Bengals with you, Jay, because they have been there and they have done that. And I know what they know what they have to do in order to get better. I hope they shore up that offensive line. I know they went after that because that offensive line, was just, I don't know. That was the worst offensive line I've seen go to a Super Bowl in all of my years watching football, Jay. I don't know about you, but Joe Burrow made it work. Joe Burrow and those guys made it work. Yeah. So I like those guys. Yeah. I like those guys for sure. All right, Jay. Let's get into our who would you take? My who would you take segment here, man. I got 3. I'm right now. It's kind of like on my guy. Britt was on. I couldn't bring him in. I can't bring these guys in. I'm sorry, E and Britt. I can't bring you guys on. It's really tough for us to do this when we're doing the YouTube. We're trying to figure that out. Ladies and gentlemen. But we do see that you're calling. We do appreciate that for sure. But Jay, I'm gonna go with you got Jimmy G out there, okay, and you got Jalen Hurts. Who are you taking in this one?
Ooh. Oh, Jimmy G, Jalen Hurts. Wow, that's a good one. I feel like with Jimmy G, I feel like we've seen everything there is to see with Jimmy G. I don't think he's going to get any better. I don't think he's going to get any worse. I think he has shown us he is who he is. Jalen Hurts is interesting because you feel like there's still some upside left with him. I almost want to watch him another year before I answer his question, K-Law. If you're making me pick right now, I think I'm going to take Jalen Hurts, and I'm betting on his upside. Jimmy G's better right now. I don't think there's any question about that. But I'm going to bet on the upside and take Jalen Hurts. But I think Jimmy G's better right now.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jimmy G as well, Jay. I am. I know he's going to sound like my guy. He's not our guy anymore, so it's going to sound like my guy. But yeah, I do agree with you. The upside is there for Jalen. I mean, he's got the tools there now. I mean, there's no excuses for Jalen Hurts right now. You got young Devontae Smith. You got the young Gogurt, the tight end there, and they bring in AJ Brown, and that running game was already solidified. So the Eagles look really good on paper. And it's just a matter of what Jalen Hurts can do, to get them over that hump, if you will, so to have them not only win the division but get into a deep playoff run as well. So, but I'm still taking. With all that being said, I'm still taking Jimmy G for sure. Next one, Jay. We got 2 receivers here. We got Cooper Kupp, who just signed his big extension there with the Rams, and then you got Adam Thielen as well. And ladies and gentlemen, I know it's going to sound like I'm comparing. But I'm not doing that. It just came out. I just think he's just one of those guys. But you got Cooper Kupp, you got Adam Thielen. Who you take?
I think Thielen is underrated. I really do. I think a lot of people just kind of write him off. And he's a really productive, really, really good player. But I'm going to take Cooper Kupp, man. I just think what he does in that offense and the way that he can work the middle of the field, and he's super reliable catching the football, and he can make some big plays for you as well. So I'm going to take Cooper Kupp, but I do think it's close. Give me Kupp, the slight edge to Kupp.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one, Jay. I'm going to take Kupp. I think Kupp is a little faster. He's quicker. He's that slot guy that you need. He can definitely get open. Every time you turn around, he just seems like he's just wide open. Not just open, Jay. I mean, wide open. It's just like everyone forgets about him, knowing the type of season that he had last season. But I'm going to take Kupp, based off of, and then Adam Thielen, he's got to stay healthy just a little bit more for me as well. But outside of that, I think Kupp has the edge on a route running ability and his ability to get open, and his hands as well. So I'm going to give the slight edge to Cooper Kupp as well. Last one here, James. Who would you take? My guy, Fred Warner, linebacker from 49ers, and we got Bobby Wagner as well. I believe he just signed with the Rams. You got two two, I think the two of the best in my opinion. You could throw Leonard from the Colts in there as well. But for these two, who would you take? Fred Warner or Bobby Wagner?
I think I'm going to take Warner. I was looking at their stats this morning, and Warner's younger. So I think I'm going to take him just on the youth alone. Wagner's had a really good NFL career, but I feel like he might be a little bit past his prime at this point. So I'm going to take Warner just on the youth alone.
Okay. Yeah, I have to agree with you there, man. I mean, I mean, not only the youth, I think still Bobby Wagner he still has some really good ball left in him. I just like Fred Warner's athleticism, not to take anything away from Bobby Wagner, but I just like his ability to be able to, fill those holes, to cover, slot receivers sometimes, and especially tight ends as well. But I'll take Fred Warner. And again, I'm gonna sound like I'm a homer, probably I sound very biased, but I do like my guy there, man. All right, Jay, let's jump into the we got 5 minutes here, man. Let's jump into the start bench cut here, man. I want to go back a little bit to I'll go back a little bit to basketball here, man. And let's go. I got Jimmy Butler, I got D Wade, and I got Carmelo Anthony. Start bench cut.
That's a good one, man. I think I'm going to start Melo. I know Melo hasn't won anything, but I think if I was just talking about who I think is, well, that's tough, man. I'm kind of choosing between Melo and D Wade here. I think I'm going to start Melo. I think Melo might be a little bit underrated. Let me start Melo. D Wade is going to come off the bench. Sorry, Jimmy Butler, I got to cut you. No offense. No offense to Jimmy Butler, but I think next to these two guys, he's the odd man out, K-Walk.
All right. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Jay. Only meaning Jimmy being out. I'm gonna cut Jimmy, but I'm gonna start D Wade here, man. Again, nothing to take away from any of these guys, but I'm gonna start D Wade. I just like, the way his game was. I didn't think he was going to be this great when he was coming out of Marquette. But obviously proved me wrong again. That's not really hard to do. But I'm going to go with D Wade. I'm gonna start D Wade. I'm going to bench Carmelo. I think Carmelo had a really, really solid career, especially when he was with Denver, and especially when he was in New York as well. So I'll bench Carmelo. And Jimmy, you're my guy this year, man. But I gotta cut somebody. Unfortunately, odd man out, like Jay said.
Yeah. Next one. Let's go. Your co-host on Wednesday nights agrees with you. I'm just checking the text thread right now. He agrees with you on that one. Shout out to Mr. Eric Scott.
All right, yeah. Shout out to the E. Scott, man. E. Scott, sorry, brother. I didn't look down at my phone there. Okay. D-Wade. Okay, good stuff there. I appreciate that, man. Next one. This is one, it's right up your alley, Mr. E. Scott, since you're listening. We got football here. We got running backs. We got Alvin Kamara, AK-41. We got Dalvin Cook, and we got Derrick Henry. Our bench cut.
All right, so I know people are probably going to think I'm crazy for this. I'm just not I know Derrick Henry is super productive. I mean, he does a great job running the football. He just doesn't do it for me. So I'm cutting Derrick Henry. I'm going to start Kamara because I just think he's dynamic. I think he fits in today's NFL. And then I'm going to bench Cook. And I know it's crazy to cut Derrick Henry, but I just like the other two guys better, man.
Yeah. Jay, I'm not arguing with that. I'm going right along with you because we always said that, listen, if we're going to start a team or we're going to start a running back, we need a running back who can do more just to be a running back. And when we need a guy that can be a great receiver out of the backfield. And Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook fits those exact modes. Now, who would I take over? Obviously, I'm taking Alvin Kamara over Dalvin Cook because I think he's just he's a better receiver than Cook. Kamara's better receiver than Cook. Both are great, outstanding running backs. But Kamara just has a little bit more for me. So yeah, I'm cutting Henry too there. So
yeah,
I thought that would be a little harder for you, Jay. I know you're running back, in high school. I thought that would be a little harder. Now, Jay, these guys, man, we got quarterbacks, and these guys, and this is you're forecasting their season this season coming up, 2022. Okay. This is what you're basing your start bench cut off of. We got Justin Field, Mac Jones, and we got Trevor Lawrence.
Wow. I think you got to start Mac Jones just based off of the success that he had last year, the system that he's in. He probably has the most support, the best team around him. So I'm going to start Mac Jones. Jacksonville's a mess, but so is Chicago. I'm going to bench Trevor Lawrence and cut Justin Fields, but that's really a toss-up because I don't know that either one of those franchises are in really good shape. But I'll start Mac, I'll bench Trevor, and I'll cut Fields.
Okay. All right. I have to agree with you there, man. I think Mac Jones is he had a great outstanding rookie season, and knowing what the Patriots are about, they're about winning. They're going to put him in the best position to win. They're going to surround him with talent. You mentioned the Jaguars, but I'm going to bench Justin Fields here. I think he has the bigger upside. I think the legs are there. And you don't know what you're going to get with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's shown some signs last season, and that's saying a lot, like you stated, especially that franchise in disarray, if you will, at best. So, so I'm going to start Mac Jones. I'm going to bench Justin Fields, and I'm going to cut Trevor Lawrence as well. All right. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we hit that right on the head. Timed it up just perfectly. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a special show. It's our 30th anniversary. It's starting at 12:30. So if you want to call back in and listen to that, please, by all means, it's going to be some great times, great stories, going down memory lane, man. Some going to be some funny stuff. I know it. I already hear myself cracking up. But I want to leave you guys with this. For sure, guys. I always want to leave you with a quote. Today, I'm going to leave you with this. Results happen over time, not overnight. Work hard and stay consistent and be patient. For myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, for the Walkthrough Radio Show right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. God willing, we'll talk to you next week.